periphery, it's on the surface. But just now, as Swamiji pointed out, deep inside is the remedy for the modern maladies. Put yourself in Arjuna's position, man at work, whether it's the CEO, whether it's a student, whether it's the housewife, whether the Prime Minister, whether it is the manager in a company. Man in depression, man confused, man having so many choices before him, but he's unable to stand, unable to lead a dignified life, unable to have interpersonal relationship, unable to lead himself and the team, with all the potentiality locked up inside. In this present scenario, how we can solve our youngsters' problems, our managerial problems. Gita by itself is a pharmacopoeia of all the ills of the society. It's a pharmacopoeia. It's available. Every chapter is a yoga. Every chapter is a yajna. As Swami Ranganathan used to tell, we have purchased 10 liters of milk to make sweet or have coffee with it, but we kept it in the puja room and went doing arati to it. We never drank milk. We never knew the strength of milk. And in spite of this modern advancement and so much of exposure to values and the mutt activities, or so many people explaining or exploring the possibilities of the Bhagavad Gita, still people feel that Bhagavad Gita is only after retirement. How can a retired person with very low eyesight, very low ear power, ear to ear, high BP, high sugar, can he understand Bhagavad Gita? He will collapse. The very second chapter, second shloka, he will be out. He will have to be reborn again. Kutastva kashmalanidam vishame samupasthitam. He will shudder. Because all through he was a bundle of confusion, complaints, grumbling, and now you give Bhagavad Gita to him after retirement. Even now students come and tell us, if we study the Bhagavad Gita, our parents will ask the question, do you want to become a sannyasi? What a paradox we are. What is management, what is modernity that you people are thinking of? Tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna. How many times Krishna whispered to Arjuna? So that is where we are mumbling over our modern so-called education or so-called our advancement. Young boys and girls should seriously think about this. How it applies to me as a manager, as a sweeper, as a meditator, as an executive, as an officer, as an individual, as a person. Forget about your roles. Forget about your degrees. You as an individual, you as the self. Should the self dictate your life's journey, or should the society dictate terms to you? It should be from within, inside out. Not the society trying to dictate terms to you. No. Each one of us, if we aim at that, you see the fragrance of Bhagavad Gita again emerging nook and corner of our country and going on towards every part of the world. And to understand the Bhagavad Gita, no other modern interpretation we have other than Swami Vivekananda's thoughts on the Bhagavad Gita. And recently we have published a new book, Gita as viewed by Vivekananda, much bigger. What all he had said, different parts, through his letters, through his conversations, through his writings, through his lectures, it is all compiled from different volumes of the complete works, put into a small book, which will be very, very handy to all of you. You have it, purchase that, read it, and then go to the originals and see what dimension of your personality blossoms to. Each one of us can become a lotus living in the world. Don't allow the world to live in you. Bhagavad Gita's message. In modern management, in corporate world, in the school institutions, we need this message. So it's been going on, but we need new thoughts, new ways to discuss. That is why we invited people from various backgrounds. Sri Gopalakrishnan, Abhimanyu Acharya, and Vijay Menon, and Dr. Mahadevan from IIM, and from ISB. We get to the faculty, and from Cognizant, the project director has come. So different dimensions of thoughts. put it all into one place, into a map, and take yourself forward and take our nation forward, not just for information, but for inspiration. Not just for education, but for enlightenment. We need to move forward to a spiritual concept of management today and teach the whole world what India can do in mesmerizing as far as our life is concerned, yoga is concerned. Thank you very much, and we'll have much interesting discussions.
Thank you, Pujya Swamiji, for the wonderful explanation you have given as to how one should make a machine man into a divine man. This is the message of Swamiji, through which we all can transform ourselves into powerful managers. Now we have before us our chief guest, Sri M. Gopalakrishna Garu, IAS retired. He has worked in different senior positions in the cadre of Andhra Pradesh. He worked at the Union government for a longer period, and he has been the chairman of the Institute of Public Administration, whose headquarters is at New Delhi, and he is heading the Hyderabad chapter. Above all, Sri Gopalakrishnan is expert in motivating people on the concepts of management, again with reference to the Indian classical traditional values. At Bharati Vidya Bhavan, he is the much sought after speaker, and in many international conferences and national seminars, he is the chosen speaker to enlighten the public on the values that are to be applied to management concepts. I welcome Sri Gopalakrishna Garu to kindly address the occasion as the chief guest of this event. Welcome, sir.
At the outset, let me offer my pranams to Lord Krishna, who exposed the Bhagavad Gita, obeisance to Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa Deva, Sri Sharada Mata, Swami Vivekananda, and our respected, revered Swami Jnanadananda Ji, Adhyaksha of the Ramakrishna Math, Swami Bodhamayananda, Director of the Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence, Sri Abhimanyu Acharya. And when I stand before you, the first thought that came to me is, just 2 days after this, on the 11th of September, but long time ago, in the year 1893, Swamiji addressed the Parliament of Religions in Chicago. In that meeting, he said, "My dear sisters and brothers of America, with inexplicable joy, I bring to you greetings from the most ancient order of monks. I bring to you the most fraternal greetings from my ancient land, India." There was a thunderous applause in that meeting for the beginning sentence of Swamiji. The president of the meeting asked Swamiji, "Swamiji, why did you address them as sisters and brothers? In America, we address them as ladies and gentlemen." Swamiji smiled and said, "Well, Mr. President, you know instinctively, without my knowing, in India, our cultural heritage makes me understand Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is but a family, and therefore I thought every one of you are connected to me either as my sister or as my brother." So then, the next day, I am told, Swami Paramarthanandaji, revered Swamiji, told me one actual instant it seems that happened. Swamiji was walking on the road in Chicago the next day morning. When Swamiji was walking on the road, some American found him oddly dressed with saffron robes and with a turban. So what he did is, mischievously, he pulled the turban of Swamiji from behind. Swamiji turned back, smiled at him, and said, "My dear friend, why did you pull my turban?" He was surprised to see a man dressed like this, unlike an American, but speaking chaste English. So he said, "Oh, you speak English?" He said, "Yes, my friend, I do speak English, but why did you pull my turban?" Then he said, "Are you new to America?" he asked. "Are you new to America?" Swamiji smiled at him. "Yes, my friend, this is the first time I have come to America. And you are the first American I met here." Then he said, "Well, why did you pull my turban?" Then he said, "Well, Swamiji," and he didn't say Swami, "well, you are not dressed like a gentleman," he said. Swamiji smiled at him and said, "My dear friend, I did not know till I came to America, till you actually told me that in America, tailors make gentlemen. In my country, character alone makes a gentleman." See how powerful that statement is. How powerful that statement. This statement comes from Bhagavad Gita as interpreted by Swami Vivekananda. So you understand how powerful this thought is. Now I would like to actually say, I consider myself fortunate to be able to talk today, particularly at a context where there is an erosion of ethics and values, and therefore I must compliment the Ramakrishna Met and particularly the Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence for organizing a seminar to discuss the concept of excellence as expounded by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and as interpreted by Swami Vivekananda, so that all of us may understand the depth and the width of the meaning ascribed in the Bhagavad Gita to what is excellence. Before that, let me say, the Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence has been a beehive of activity in its mission of educating, enabling, encouraging, empowering both old and young to become excellent and serve the cause of society and humanity. And that can be served if every one of us develops a vision of what India can be and what we can do to make that India come true. Two, a mission as to what we accept fervently, action that should follow the mission, and what should be sustained by passion. Unless we develop a passion of ekagrata, of focus, of perseverance, and that is what Swami Vivekananda said, that unless you are able to concentrate, unless you are able to bring a focus, unless you are able to bring about that perseverance with it, only then you will be able to actually achieve your goal. But that goal has to be also with passion, be accompanied by compassion, and more importantly, the Bhagavad Gita says, with this passion resulting in the fusion of thoughts, of ideas, of minds and hearts, and that actually is what is really required, so that the thoughts of the Gita must illuminate our thoughts, our ideas, and therefore we must see how we can bring through that a unison of the hearts, the minds, and that is said as Sangachadvam Samvadadvam Samvo Manam Sijanatam. That means let us walk together, let us talk together, let us understand and comprehend one another, and later on, and that is more important for all of us, walk the talk together. It is not enough if you talk, you must walk the talk together. And MBA students know MBA management by walking around. You learn by walking around, talking with people, imbibing, observing, and that is, I think, extremely important, especially because I understand many of you are students of MBA. I would also like to actually say the Bhagavad Gita has been referred in the Dhyana Sloka as Bharata Taila Purna Prajwalito Gnanamaya Pradipaha. That means the oil which sustains the illumined flame and the light is the knowledge which is dispelling darkness, but it is to be continuously fed by the ancient wisdom of India. The Taila, the oil, is the collective wisdom of the nation which is continuously feeding, so that this flame may actually become a torch and you become the torch bearers of this new movement. That, I think, is the real purpose of this meeting, and why the Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence wants it to be done. And the other very important thing we should understand, the Bhagavad Gita is a sacred text, but it is also a secular text. It is known for the brevity and the clarity that it brings to different issues, to abstruse problems, and is able to provide us, as Swamiji just now said, solutions. It provides solutions. I have myself worked for more than 50 years in different jobs, and every time I was in difficulty, in distress, I just went back to the Bhagavad Gita and I would find some sloka there which illumines you and tells you this is the correct decision you must take, this is the way you must actually go forward. But more importantly, Swamiji also said just now, Uddharet Atmana Atmanam Na Avasadayet. Don't actually think low of yourself. Think of your Atma as very powerful, and that is the instrument which can actually develop you, which can build you up, which can provide you confidence, provide you courage. Atmana, that is what is it's the Atma, your soul, your self, that is extremely important. That is why Atmano Atmaiva hi bandhu. Atmano Atmaiva ripuru Atmanaha. That means the Atma can be your friend if you are able to take its help. It can be your enemy when you do not take its help. So it's very important for you to see how. And more importantly for students, I am always happy to tell one thing which I learned and which I would like to pass on to students, and I used to do it when I was in the director of the Institute of Public Enterprise. Please remember, Atmana Vinjate Viryam. Viryam means energy. Viryam means excellence. Atmana Vinjate Viryam. Viryam comes from within. It does not come from outside. That Viryam is, that is why Swamiji very correctly said, we must actually see inward, look outward and move forward. See inward, look outward and move forward. This, I think, is what is really very important for us. Now I would like to very briefly talk in terms of what do we mean by excellence, and particularly corporate excellence. Any concept requires not only clarity about the concept, it needs the context in which the concept should be applied. It also needs the content of that concept, the communication and the coordination that must be brought in to see that the concept is applied correctly and properly. And that, therefore, the excellence in a way is better the best. One simple way of the excellence is better the best. Give out your best. Go on improving your best. Similarly, raise the bar. If you are doing 3 feet height, long high jump, go in for 3 feet 2 inches, go in for 3 feet 4 inches. And all Olympic Games, the motto is Citius, Fortius, Altius. Citius means go faster towards your goal. Altius means go be higher in your ambitions. Fortius means stronger in your determination. These 3 things are extremely important. And also reach perfection. See, excellence is a journey and the end result is perfection. How do you move on this path is very, very important. That is why I say everyone must try to excel himself or herself. X does not excel Y. Y does not excel Z. You must excel yourself. You must reach the maximum of your potential. And that is where you require the help of Atma. You require the help of yourself. Because it is that which is a continuous motivator. And how do you actually get it to completely always motivate you? That is extremely important. Also at the same time, in the Bhagavad Gita, and this is what I learned as a manager, as a leader, as a chairman, as a managing director. What I learned is very simple. It says everyone must develop proficiency. Proficiency is pravinyam. One is a good engineer, one is a good chartered accountant, one may be a good administrator. What it means is proficiency is pravinyam. Pravinyam is intellectual ability, understanding, and pravinyam means you are proficient in that party. It's an individual attribute belonging to X, Y or Z. Then there is another attribute, and that attribute is called Kaushalyam. Kaushalyam means efficiency. Efficiency is a team attribute. Efficiency is a collective attribute. The third one is effectiveness, Safalyam.
That means you are able to get the results you expected. And how do you achieve that thing? How do you convert your individual proficiency into team or collective efficiency and make that into organizational effectiveness? And that organizational effectiveness is what may be called corporate excellence. So this is how you have to move from individual proficiency to collective efficiency to organizational effectiveness. And in every organization, particularly, you must understand there are 5 C's which are contributing towards excellence. One is competence. Competence, to be simply put, is skills plus confidence. Skills plus confidence gives you competence. Competence leads to competitiveness. Competitiveness leads to customer confidence. Customer confidence comes from continuous growth and communication. So these 5 C's are extremely important as a concept to how get corporate excellence. Also at the same time, the world is changing, everything is changing. So that is why we have to say, how do we actually manage change? And for that, a simple thing is, you always have a form of an organization, the structure. You have information within the organization, inform. Third is actually conform, do as per the rules. But more important for a dynamic organization is not form, inform, conform, but transform, reform, perform. And what is important for excellence is your performance. This is the most important thing that we need to actually understand. And the ethics of any corporation is, ethic of a company, of a corporate is economic efficiency. Getting more from less. How do you get more from less? Principle of conservation. Don't waste. Waste not, want not. So you have to look at the use efficiency. How are you able to get the maximum efficiency from whatever use the energy is put to? This is another important thing. Also you have to create value. And you can create value only when you're a value-driven company. Also, at every stage of the value chain, you must see how value addition takes place. And you have to also bring about, because an organization's strength is the strength of the human being in that organization. So how do you actually create or bring about a congruence between your personal goals and the goals of the organization? And more importantly, you also have to get extraordinary performance from ordinary people. And that means leadership grooming. That means building a chain of succession, a pipeline of succession. And it must also provide service to society, because it is society which nurtures a company, which nurtures excellence. And that is why ancient Indian wisdom tells, Krutecha pratikartavyam yesha dharma sanatana. This sanatana dharma is, whatever help you receive, you must return back more than once, more than twice, so that you get more, give back more than what you have received. Krutecha pratikartavyam yesha dharma sanatana. Not only that, companies must adopt shatahasta samahara, collect with 100 hands, Sahasra hasta samakira. Give it to 1,000 hands. The company's purpose is to add wealth and then to distribute that wealth. So Shatahasta samahara, Sahasra hasta samakira. This is a very important concept. And that is why we say we must have clarity on purpose, clarity on process, and clarity on people. These 3 things must be linked together. And here, what is important and what the Bhagavad Gita says is, companies may be resource driven, companies may be demand driven, companies may be market driven, companies may be technology driven, companies may be innovation driven. All of them may serve a purpose for a short time. But if you want the purpose to serve for a longer time, then it must be a value driven company. Only when it's a value driven company you will have. That is why longevity comes when companies follow values. I'll just give a small instance, Indian instance, which management experts must understand. Shankaracharya, 1200 years ago, established the 4 mutts. In Jyotirmat, Dwaraka, Puri, Sringeri, now Kanchi, all these things were established by him. At that time, when he was establishing this thing, he thought of only one thing. These things will survive time only when I link the past with the present with the future. And Therefore, what did he say? Every institution will have a senior guru, Adhyaksha Maharaj. It will say a ruling Maharaj, and it will also have a Maharaj under training. So, the senior pontiff is telling him the values of the past. The new man is giving the ideas suitable for the present. The young man is learning what is important in the past and the present. That is why in Urdu also there is a shair which says, Naujawan sino mein mustaqbil ki karta hu talash, purane maqbaron mein dhundta hu buzargon ki kadam. I am looking at the future in the young people. At the same time, I am remembering the direction of my ancient culture and heritage, and how do I reconcile these two things and go in the proper direction. Very important. In a corporate body, excellence. I am a teacher of management, so I used to always tell students, consciousness is what must be created. Just a human being must have consciousness of his self, you must have corporate consciousness. And that corporate consciousness comes of time consciousness, cost consciousness, quality consciousness, productivity consciousness, ecology consciousness, consciousness of sustainability and of profitability. There is a very simple sukti, and that sukti tells, I used to always tell students, just remember this and you will pass your MBA exam, be a successful, excellent manager. What is it? Vastur Mulyam, the price of an article or a service. Vastur Mulyam, Pramanena, the quality of the standard. Samayena, timely delivery. Mitavyayena, at the least cost. Sevena, with service that accompanies. Amulyam bhavati. Mulyam must become amulyam. That is the purpose of value addition. How do you make mole unmole? This is a very important concept of excellence as far as a corporate body is concerned. And for that, you need to adhere to truth. Satyameva jayate. Nanritam, nothing else but Satyam. Satyam Shivam Sundaram, we say. All these are actually Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. These are all simple but very powerful statements. Now, truth. You look at what happened to a company whose name was Truth. The moment that was not forsaken, what happened? We all know. Trust. One company said, the middle name of my company is Trust. What happened? When they forgot about trust. What happened to Unit Trust of India? These are all important, these are values. You see, no one can escape the ruthlessness of the truth, actually. This truth, trust, transparency, Enron. You see what has happened. Tolerance, tact, sahanam yeva sanskriti. Culture is tolerance. This is, so therefore, companies must also remember the 5 T's, truth, trust, transparency, tolerance, and tact. At the same time, companies for longevity must be able to be good at predictability, sustainability, riskability, reliability, productivity, and profitability. So these must be the guiding principles for corporate excellence. And that is where change management, and change management means read the change, read the writing on the wall, read the change, lead the change, ride the change. Because we cannot manage change. Change has to be led by you. You have to change, then the whole world will change. If you do not change, the world will never change. So one important thing, you must change. And when I was a very young boy, my mother used to actually tell me, you must change. Every time she would say, you are not doing well, or you are not listening to me, whatever it is, she would always say, no marali, marpu ravali. And I used to ask my mother, Amma, marpu ante emito na cheppu. I asked her, what do you mean by marpu? My mother so beautifully put it to me, it's still ringing in my ears. She said, Naina, marpu ravalante neeku nerpu undali, నీకు ఓర్పు ఉండాలి, నీకు కూర్పు ఉండాలి, నీకు చేర్పు ఉండాలి, నీకు మలుపు ఉండాలి, నీవు తీర్పు చేయాలి, నీకు గెలుపు రావాలి. See, only when you get all these things together, then only you will be able to actually do it. So you understand, young students here, you must understand, change is a process. It's not just one short thing. And this process means you must master these things. And that, I think, is extremely important. Now I want to just very briefly talk about what is it that the Bhagavad Gita tells, actually. The Bhagavad Gita, like all our religious scriptures say, every person must adhere to dharma. Dharma is what sustains order in society. So prabhavartam hi dharma shrashta swayambhuva. Swayambhuva, God who has come by himself, he has created this thing called dharma. And dharma is a fourfold path. You have to be righteous in what you do, and you must not forsake artha also. Artha is also important. That means your economic, your commercial interests are important. Kama, pleasurable interests are also important. Moksha, salvation is also important. But all of them must be done in a righteous manner. So the most important thing is, how do you be able to achieve these things? But through the process of dharma, that is why human beings also, they say, they can grow in only one method. Athama, athamudu avasaralaku bratukutadu. He lives for the bare necessities of life. Madhyama, అనుభవాలకు బ్రతుకుతాడు, for all the experience. ఉత్తమ ఆదర్శాలకు బ్రతుకుతాడు. Lord Rama, why is he called Purushottama? Because he lived for his ideals. That is why he attained godhood. So this is how we have to look at it. That is why we say, ultimate analysis, man must also evolve. How does he evolve? First is Swahita, his own hit. Swahita, Swajana hita, his family's hit. Anyajana hita, Alpajana hita, Bahujana hita, Sarvajana hita. It is a process of how you go on developing. And what happened to Mayawati in UP? At one time she said only Bahujana. Now she is saying Sarvajana. So we all know what is happening, isn't it? Very important for us. These are inexorable laws of nature, inexorable laws of God. So we have to achieve this. And that is why we say, every person has swartha. That swartha is selfishness. That must become niswartha, unselfishness. And unselfishness become selflessness, aswartha. So this is how we actually develop. And what I want to say is, you have to excel yourself before you excel others. And that is why we always say in Bhagavad Gita, very beautifully actually puts it. And this is what I understand in the corporate context. Every person has a body, rupa, swarupa. Each man, no two persons are alike. Each individual is unique. So one is swarupa. This swarupa has a swabhava, his nature, born with that, genetically determined. That swabhava also determines your swakarma. The swakarma must be done according to the swadharma. So this is what is important. How do you actually reconcile the swarupa with the swabhava, with the swakarma, and with the swadharma? This is how we need to actually look at it in that context. And second very important thing is that Lord Krishna, very beautifully in many things, he says, how do you link thought and action? Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yoga. Similarly, samatvam yoga uchyate. That means you must be balanced, hold equilibrium when there are conflicting issues that are coming up. At the same time, yoga karmasu kaushalam. That means efficiency in your work